talk about some of the issues that have been brought up by parents and students together about the 6th grade math science split. Okay, there's some issues that have come up with. I think students are feeling inadequate, that they're not learning what they should, and that the acting out is coming because the teacher's not providing positive attention and positive reinforcement, so the students feel like if they act out, they're getting the attention from the teacher even though it's negative. Now, I know that you are in there, in that classroom. What are some of the issues that you see?
I do see the kids, they are confused when a subject is presented. I don't feel like they are getting a full understanding of the material before being thrown into a project or homework, especially when it comes to taking a test. I think they haven't practiced enough. The practice they got was not very effective due to their lack of understanding. I believe the pace is too fast and the independent work is too much. They need more group work, group demonstration. The teacher needs to give more examples, multiple examples, not just one and done, present it, and then they skip the homework, which is what's occurring.
Okay. So do you see all these things that you mentioned, do you think that is based, because there's 4 areas that we could look at.
Okay.
It would either be behavior, content, direct instruction, or behavior, content, direct instruction, and but of those,
I can already tell you it's
or
going to
formative assessment, like, checking as they go. Where are the issues? Is it
be
behavior?
behavior and direct instruction.
Okay. So if we can find a way to improve both of those things, you think the students
Yes.
would benefit?
I think they are acting up because so many have questions, and instead of getting a full understanding and starting on the material, they're all having questions, and you can only help so many at once. So in the meantime, these kids, instead of trying or diving in, they're finding distractions, which is causing bad behavior.
Okay. Okay, so let's, instead of trying to just jump in and make a plan to improve these things, let's do some observations.
Okay.
You and I we'll try to do you and I at least observe twice over the next 2 weeks. And I'd like to use this form. What it is, it's the classroom academic engagement form. So what you'll do, you just, for a certain amount of time, you will mark if the student is engaged or if they're not engaged. Okay, either a plus or a minus.
Okay.
That way we can tell, and then I guess at certain times down here in the comments section, at certain times if there are specific behaviors that are repetitive, make note of those, both by the students and the teacher. We want the teacher to know that we're there because we want her students to be more successful. We're not judging her or her practices. We just want to make the whole atmosphere better.
Okay.
Now, have you ever heard of CHAMPS?
I have heard of it. I don't know what it stands for, and I've never seen it practice though.
Okay, it's something that's used a lot more in elementary schools, but I think it touches on all the areas that I think this classroom would benefit from. So just while you're observing, if you can make some notes, if you think that CHAMPS would be helpful tool for this classroom, what it stands for. C is conversation, so then what would happen is we could put, this is how I've seen it done. Champs would be up on the whiteboard. Next to the C, you have certain conversation levels, 1 through 4. So if they're working on something that nobody should be talking, it'd be at a 0 or 1. Okay, if they can talk with their neighbors, work with each other, 3 or 4. So C is conversation. H is help. How should the students ask for help? Do they just get up and go to the desk? Do they raise their hand? What is expected of them? And then A is activity. So what should the student be doing? M is movement. What kind of movement, if any, is permitted? So that goes back to 2, what kind of help they're allowed to ask for. And then P, participation. So it sounds like with this classroom, if the students knew exactly their expectations for those different areas, it might be possible for them to get more attention and help and instruction from the teacher.
I think that that's exactly correct. I don't think they understand exactly what their role is. I think the talking in excess, if we had it on a level, and that was presented at the beginning of class, this is is it the voice level you said? Okay, so let's say we said 0, then they know no talking, they get caught, they'll have to deal with consequences.
Right.
Where right now it's, be quiet, get to work, well, they might not take it so seriously as they would take this. So I do think that would improve behavior.
Okay, so I'll make you a little cheat sheet of what CHAMPS is and what it stands for. And while you're observing, just see if there's instances that you think that would be helpful.
Okay.
Because then when we go to make a plan to try to implement in this classroom, hopefully that may be something we can use, and then that way we're more knowledgeable, and then we'll have specific examples of where those things would help.
Okay.
Okay. The only other thing that I think we probably should gauge, and this would be for the teacher's benefit, and I'll get some other sheets that we can use for these observations. Do you think, as you've been in there, does the teacher give effective corrective comments? So if a student has something to say and it's not quite correct, are they corrected in an appropriate, positive way?
No.
Okay. So that's something else. So we've got three things we want to try to observe while we're in there. Effective comments by the teacher, corrective comments, student behaviors as far as why are they acting out. Is it because they don't know what they're doing, what's expected of them? So that's also where we want to observe the CHAMPS model and look to possibly use it. And then the students, the time engaged, that the students are engaged. Because I think if we can get down to it and students know exactly what's expected of them, then their time engaged will go up. So as we want to make, before we're done here, because I think we have a good plan of how we're going to come about this, let's name a specific instructional goal that you think would be appropriate. I'm thinking something along the lines of having the students to feel more comfortable in the room so that they can get more. So we want to provide.
The student maybe needs to understand their role better in the classroom.
So in more of an open learning environment. Right now, do you feel like it's teacher?
It's pretty
student?
close.
There's nothing.
It's pretty close.
It's
pretty close.
Okay, so provide students with
Open the gap a little bit.
an open learning environment. And you said where students know their roles.
Yes, where they understand their role.
Where, I like that better, where they understand. Because one thing to know and one thing to understand.
Inside the classroom.
Understand. Okay, I think we've got a good plan in place, and like I said, you try to observe twice, I'll observe twice in the next 2 weeks, and then we'll get back together and try to make a plan to hopefully implement some things that'll help the teacher and the students both. All right, thank you.
Sounds good, no problem.